and welcome to the Cozy Curiosity channel. Tonight, we'll embark on a gentle exploration of one of the world's most beloved companions, the cat. These mysterious, graceful creatures have shared our homes for thousands of years, yet they still hold secrets that surprise and delight us. From their extraordinary senses to their ancient origins, from the physics of their purr to the chemistry of their curiosity, cats are far more complex and fascinating than we often realize. So before you get comfortable, take a moment to like the video and subscribe. It helps other sleepy souls find their way here. And let me know in the comments where you're tuning in from and what time it is for you. It's always fascinating to see who's joining us from around the world. Now settle in, let your breathing slow, and allow your mind to wander through 100. Hello, and welcome to the Cozy Curiosity channel. Tonight, we'll embark on a gentle exploration of one of the world's most beloved companions, the cat. These mysterious, graceful creatures have shared our homes for thousands of years, yet they still hold secrets that surprise and delight us. From their extraordinary senses to their ancient origins, from the physics of their purr to the chemistry of their curiosity, cats are far more complex and fascinating than we often realize. So before you get comfortable, take a moment to like the video and subscribe. It helps other sleepy souls find their way here. And let me know in the comments where you're tuning in from and what time it is for you. It's always fascinating to see who's joining us from around the world. Now settle in, let your breathing slow, and allow your mind to wander through 100 captivating facts about these remarkable animals. Whether you're a lifelong cat lover or simply curious about the feline world, these calming stories and gentle truths will guide you toward rest. Let's begin. Cats have been living alongside humans for over 10,000 years. The relationship between cats and people stretches back to the dawn of agriculture in the Fertile Crescent of the Middle East. When humans began storing grain, mice and rats arrived to feast on these stores, and wild cats followed the rodents. These early cats were likely African wildcats, and over generations, the boldest and most tolerant among them moved closer to human settlements. Unlike dogs, which were actively bred and trained, cats essentially domesticated themselves, choosing to live near people because it provided easy access to food. Archaeological evidence from Cyprus shows cats were living with humans at least 500 years ago, as a cat was buried deliberately alongside a human in a grave dating to that period. This ancient partnership gradually spread across the world, with cats traveling on ships and caravans, becoming valued not just for pest control, but for companionship. What's remarkable is that despite thousands of years together, cats have retained much of their wild independence, remaining both domestic and wild at heart, in a way few other animals have managed. A cat's purr vibrates at a frequency that can promote healing. When a cat purrs, it produces vibrations in the range of 25 to 150 Hz, a frequency range that research suggests may have therapeutic effects on bone density and tissue repair. Studies have shown that exposure to vibrations in this range can stimulate bone growth, reduce pain, and promote the healing of wounds and muscles. This may explain why cats purr not only when content, but also when injured, stressed, or giving birth. The act of purring might be a self-soothing mechanism that helps cats heal faster from injuries. For humans, simply being near a purring cat and feeling those vibrations can lower stress levels and reduce blood pressure. The purr is created by the rapid movement of the muscles within the larynx, opening and closing the space between the vocal cords. and it happens during both inhalation and exhalation, creating that continuous rumbling sound we find so comforting. Some researchers believe that living with cats and experiencing their purrs regularly might even offer mild health benefits to their owners, though more research is needed to fully understand this connection. Cats spend up to 70% of their lives sleeping. If you've ever envied your cat's ability to nap anywhere, anytime, you're not alone. Cats are champion sleepers, dozing for an average of 12 to 16 hours per day, with some cats sleeping up to 20 hours daily. This means a 9-year-old cat has been awake for only about 3 years of its life. The reason for all this sleep lies in their evolutionary history as hunters. In the wild, hunting requires intense bursts of energy, and cats conserve energy between hunts by sleeping. Even well-fed house cats retain this instinct, and their sleep patterns reflect it. Cat sleep comes in 2 types: light dozing and deep sleep. About 3/4 of cat sleep is light, during which they remain alert enough to spring into action if needed. You may notice your cat's ears twitching or turning towards sounds even while sleeping. The remaining quarter is deep sleep, during which cats experience REM sleep and likely dream, their whiskers twitching and paws paddling as they chase invisible prey through dreamscapes only they can see. A cat's noseprint is as unique as a human fingerprint. Just as no 2 human fingerprints are exactly alike, every cat's nose has a unique pattern of bumps and ridges. The texture and pattern of these ridges on a cat's nose pad could theoretically be used for identification, much like fingerprints or retinal scans in humans. While this method isn't commonly used in practice, it highlights the incredible individuality of each cat. The nose itself is also a remarkable sensory organ. Cats have about 200 million scent receptors in their noses, compared to about 5 million in humans, making their sense of smell roughly 14 times more powerful than ours. They use scent to identify other animals, locate food, and navigate their territory. A cat's nose also serves as a temperature gauge. A healthy cat's nose is typically cool and slightly moist, which helps them detect even subtle air currents and scent. When greeting another cat, they often touch noses, exchanging scent information in what is essentially a feline handshake, gathering a wealth of data about the other cat's health, diet, and emotional state in a single sniff. Cats have a third eyelid called the nictitating membrane. If you've ever caught a glimpse of something pale sliding across your cat's eye from the inner corner, you've seen the nictitating membrane, also known as the haw or third eyelid. This translucent or white membrane is located in the inner corner of the eye and can sweep horizontally across the eyeball, providing an extra layer of protection. In healthy cats, you usually won't see it, except perhaps when they're very relaxed or just waking up. The membrane serves several purposes. It helps keep the eye moist, protects against dust and debris, and can shield the eye during hunting or fighting. Many animals, including birds, reptiles, and some mammals, have this feature, but it's often vestigial in humans. In cats, the nictitating membrane is fully functional. If you notice it visible for extended periods when your cat is awake, this can sometimes indicate illness or injury, and it's worth consulting a veterinarian. This hidden anatomical feature is just one of many adaptations that make cats such efficient and resilient hunters. Cats can rotate their ears 180 degrees independently. Cats' ears are marvels of biological engineering, controlled by around 32 muscles in each ear, compared to the 6 muscles that control human ears. This allows cats to rotate each ear independently up to 180 degrees, acting like radar dishes to pinpoint the exact location of sounds. When a cat hears something interesting, you'll often see its ears swivel toward the sound source, while its head remains still, capturing audio information from multiple directions simultaneously. This ability is essential for hunting, allowing cats to detect the faint rustling of a mouse in grass or the flutter of a bird's wings from remarkable distances. Cats can hear frequencies ranging from about 48 Hz up to 85 kHz, far beyond the human range, which tops out around 20 kHz. This extended range allows them to hear the ultrasonic calls that rodents use to communicate, giving cats a distinct advantage when hunting. The position of a cat's ears also communicates emotion. Forward-facing ears signal alertness and interest. Flattened ears indicate fear or aggression, and ears swiveling constantly suggest a cat is monitoring its environment, taking in all the acoustic information of its territory. A group of cats is called a clowder. While we're all familiar with collective nouns like a pack of wolves or a flock of birds, the term for a group of cats is less commonly known. A gathering of cats is called a clowder, a word that may derive from the Middle English clodder, meaning to clot or cluster. The term typically refers to a group of feral or stray cats living together, as house cats are generally solitary creatures by nature. In the wild, female cats, especially those related, may form loose colonies around abundant food sources, sharing territory and sometimes even helping to care for each other's kittens. Male cats tend to be more solitary, coming together primarily for mating. There are other charming collective nouns for cats as well. A group of kittens from the same litter is called a kindle or a litter, and a group of adult cats can also be called a glaring, which seems particularly appropriate given the judgmental stares cats are capable of delivering. These linguistic curiosities remind us that despite their independent nature, cats do sometimes choose to gather and form their own peculiar social structures. Cats have a specialized collarbone that allows them to squeeze through tight spaces. Unlike humans and most mammals, a cat's clavicle or collarbone is not connected to other bones, but instead floats freely in muscle tissue. This anatomical adaptation gives cats extraordinary flexibility, allowing them to contort their bodies and squeeze through any opening that's large enough to fit their head. The rule of thumb is simple. If a cat's head fits, the rest of its body can follow. This is because a cat's head is typically the widest part of its skeleton, and the free-floating collarbone allows the shoulders to compress and move independently. Combined with their flexible spine, which has more vertebrae than a human spine, cats can twist, turn, and flatten themselves in ways that seem almost liquid. This ability evolved as a hunting adaptation, allowing wild cats to pursue prey into burrows, under rocks, and through dense vegetation. For house cats, it means they can explore seemingly impossible spaces, appearing in locations that baffle their owners, and leading to the common experience of searching frantically for a cat, only to discover it has wedged itself into a box, drawer, or cabinet you never imagined it could access. Black cats are considered lucky in many cultures, despite superstitions. While Western superstition often portrays black cats as harbingers of bad luck, many cultures around the world view them as symbols of good fortune and prosperity. In Japan, black cats are considered especially lucky, and a black cat crossing your path is thought to bring good fortune. In Scotland, a strange black cat arriving at your home signifies prosperity. English sailors believed that keeping black cats aboard ships would ensure safe voyages, and fishermen's wives often kept black cats at home for the same reason. In ancient Egypt, all cats were revered, but black cats held special status because they resembled the goddess Bastet, who was often depicted as a black cat. The association of black cats with bad luck in Western culture likely stems from the Middle Ages, when they were linked to witchcraft and the devil. This unfortunate superstition led to the persecution of both black cats and their owners. Today, black cats are statistically less likely to be adopted from shelters, a heartbreaking consequence of outdated beliefs. In reality, a cat's character has nothing to do with its coat color, and black cats are just as loving, playful, and worthy of homes as any other feline. Time tends dawn. Cats lack the taste receptors for sweetness. While humans can taste 5 basic flavors: sweet, sour, salty, bitter, and umami, cats are missing the taste receptors for sweetness entirely. This is because cats are obligate carnivores, meaning their diet consists almost entirely of meat, and they have no nutritional need to detect sugars. The gene responsible for producing the sweet taste receptor is non-functional in cats due to a mutation that occurred millions of years ago in their ancestors. This doesn't seem to bother cats at all, as they're perfectly content with the savory, meaty flavors they can detect. Interestingly, cats have developed an enhanced ability to taste certain amino acids found in meat, which makes sense given their dietary needs. They can detect nuances in protein and fat that humans cannot, allowing them to assess the freshness and quality of their food with precision. This is why cats can be such finicky eaters. They're tasting aspects of their food that we cannot even perceive. So if your cat shows no interest in your ice cream or chocolate, it's not being rude. It simply cannot taste what makes these treats appealing to you. And in the case of chocolate, this is fortunate, as chocolate is toxic to cats. A cat's whiskers are approximately as wide as its body. Whiskers, or vibrissae, are much more than decorative features on a cat's face. These specialized tactile hairs are deeply embedded in the cat's skin and connected to the muscular and nervous systems, sending sensory information directly to the brain. A cat's whiskers extend roughly as wide as its body at the widest point, usually the shoulders, serving as a built-in measuring tool. Before entering a tight space, a cat will often extend its head forward, using its whiskers to gauge whether its body will fit through the opening. Whiskers are so sensitive they can detect even tiny changes in air currents, which helps cats navigate in complete darkness and sense nearby objects without touching them. This is particularly useful when hunting at night, as the whiskers can detect the movement of prey. Cats also have whiskers above their eyes, on their chin, and on the backs of their front legs, providing 360-degree sensory input. The position of a cat's whiskers also communicates emotion. Whiskers pulled back against the face suggest fear or aggression, while whiskers pushed forward indicate curiosity and interest. You should never trim a cat's whiskers, as this would be like blindfolding them, leaving them disoriented and anxious. Cats can make over 100 different vocal sounds. While dogs can produce around 10 different vocalizations, cats have a much broader vocal repertoire, with estimates ranging from 100 to over 200 distinct sounds. This includes variations of meows, purrs, hisses, growls, yowls, chirps, trills, and chatters. Interestingly, adult cats rarely meow at each other. Meowing is primarily a form of communication that cats have developed to interact with humans. Kittens meow to their mothers, but as they mature, they typically stop using this sound with other cats, preferring body language and scent marking instead. With humans, however, cats have learned that meowing gets results, and many cats develop specific meows for different requests, like food, attention, or being let outside. Some studies suggest that cats have adapted their vocalizations to match the frequency range of a human baby's cry, which naturally triggers nurturing responses in people. The variety in cat vocalizations allows for nuanced communication. A short, high-pitched meow might be a greeting, while a long, drawn-out meow could indicate complaint or demand. Chirps and trills often express happiness or excitement, while hisses and growls serve as clear warnings. Over time, attentive cat owners learn to distinguish these sounds and respond appropriately, deepening the bond between human and feline. The oldest known pet cat lived 9,500 years ago. In 2004, archaeologists discovered a grave on the Mediterranean island of Cyprus that contained the remains of a human and a cat buried together around 9,500 years ago. This finding pushed back the timeline of cat domestication significantly and provided evidence that cats were valued companions, not just pest controllers. The burial was deliberate and ceremonial. Cats walk like camels and giraffes. Most quadrupeds, when walking, move their legs in a pattern called diagonal footfall. Right front with left rear, then left front with right rear. Cats, however, move both right feet forward, then both left feet, a gait called pacing that they share with camels and giraffes. This walking pattern makes cats appear more graceful and fluid in their movements, almost as if they're gliding across the ground. The pacing gait minimizes noise and maximizes balance, which is advantageous for hunting, allowing cats to move silently and remain stable while stalking prey. When a cat needs to move faster, it switches to other gaits, like the trot, or when running at full speed, the gallop, which can reach speeds of up to 30 miles per hour in short bursts. The way cats move is also enhanced by their digitigrade stance, meaning they walk on their toes rather than the flat of their feet, which gives them better speed and agility. This toe walking, combined with their retractable claws that remain sheathed during normal walking, allows cats to move with near-perfect silence, sneaking up on unsuspecting prey or sneaking into forbidden rooms without a sound. A cat's brain is more similar to a human brain than a dog's brain. When it comes to neurological structure, cats and humans have surprisingly similar brains. Both cat and human brains have cerebral cortices with similar lobes and folding patterns, and both use nearly identical neurotransmitters. The regions of the brain responsible for emotion in cats are remarkably similar to those in humans, which may explain why cats seem capable of complex feelings like affection, jealousy, and even grief. Studies have shown that cats form strong attachments to their owners, similar to the bonds formed by dogs and even young children, and they can experience separation anxiety when apart from their favored humans. The cat brain contains about 300 million neurons compared to about 160 million in dogs. And while dogs have larger brains overall due to their larger body size, the density and organization of neurons in cat brains are impressive. Cats have excellent memory, particularly spatial and procedural memory, remembering the layout of their territory and learned behaviors for years. Their brains are wired for hunting, with specialized visual and motor cortices that process rapid movement and coordinate precise pouncing. In many ways, having a cat is like living with a tiny, furry person with a very different set of priorities. Cats can jump up to 6 times their body length in a single bound. Cats are extraordinary athletes, capable of leaping incredible distances relative to their size. An average cat can jump approximately 6 times its body length horizontally and up to 5 times its height vertically. This means a cat that measures 2 feet long can jump 12 feet across and reach heights of 8 to 10 feet with ease. This remarkable leaping ability is due to powerful hind leg muscles, flexible spines, and excellent balance. When preparing to jump, a cat will often wiggle its hindquarters, a behavior that may help it calculate distance and prepare its muscles for the explosive movement. The jump itself is powered primarily by the hind legs, which act like coiled springs, releasing enormous force in an instant. Cats also have exceptional mid-air body control, able to twist and adjust their position during flight to land precisely where they intend. This ability evolved for hunting and escaping predators, allowing cats to reach high perches, cross wide gaps, and pounce on prey from a distance. For house cats, it means that virtually no shelf, cabinet, or counter is truly out of reach, and cat owners quickly learn that vertical space is just as important to consider as floor space when cat-proofing a home. Swords. The world's richest cat inherited a fortune of millions. In 1988, a British antique dealer named Ben Rea passed away and left his entire fortune, estimated at £7 million, to his beloved cat Blackie, making him the wealthiest cat in the world according to the Guinness Book of World Records. Rea disinherited his family and instead distributed his estate among 3 cat charities, with instructions that they care for Blackie for the rest of his life. While this is perhaps the most famous case, other cats have inherited substantial sums, reflecting the deep bonds that can form between cats and their owners. In Italy, a cat named Tommaso inherited €10 million from his owner, Maria Assunta, making him one of the wealthiest animals in history. These stories, while unusual, highlight how some people come to view their cats not as pets, but as family members deserving of financial security. Of course, cats themselves have no concept of wealth and would likely trade any fortune for a sunny windowsill, a comfortable nap spot, and regular meals. But these inheritances ensure they receive excellent care and that their owner's passion for animal welfare continues beyond their own lives. Cats have a specialized reflective layer in their eyes called the tapetum lucidum. The eerie glow of a cat's eyes when caught in headlights or flashlight beams is caused by the tapetum lucidum, a reflective layer of tissue behind the retina. This structure acts like a mirror, reflecting light back through the retina and giving photoreceptor cells a second chance to absorb photons they might have missed the first time. This adaptation significantly enhances cats' night vision, allowing them to see in light levels 6 times lower than what humans require. Essentially, cats can see in what we would consider near total darkness, though they cannot see in complete absence of light. The tapetum lucidum is found in many nocturnal animals, including dogs, deer, and raccoons. But cats have particularly well-developed versions. The color of the eyeshine varies among individual cats, ranging from green to gold to blue, depending on the minerals present in the tapetum and the angle of the light. While this feature gives cats superior night vision, they actually see less detail than humans in bright light and have a narrower range of color vision, perceiving blues and yellows well, but struggling with reds and greens. Evolution shaped cats for twilight hunting, when their prey is active and their visual advantages are most pronounced. Cats sleep in short bursts rather than long stretches to stay alert for threats. The way cats sleep reflects their dual nature as both predator and prey in the wild. Most of a cat's sleep consists of short naps, lasting 15 to 30 minutes, punctuated by brief periods of wakefulness, during which the cat assesses its environment for threats or opportunities. This pattern, sometimes called polyphasic sleep, allows cats to remain responsive even while resting. During these light naps, cats maintain a degree of muscle tension and sensory awareness, ready to spring into action instantly if needed. Their ears continue to swivel toward sounds, and their whiskers remain sensitive to air movement. Only during deeper sleep cycles, which comprise about 25% of total sleep time, do cats truly relax and enter REM sleep, during which dreaming occurs. Even then, deep sleep periods are brief, usually lasting only 5 minutes before the cat returns to lighter dozing. This sleep strategy evolved because small wild cats face threats from larger predators, while also needing to remain ready to hunt when prey appears. House cats retain this instinct even though they face no real threats in safe homes, explaining why your cat might suddenly zoom from a dead sleep to chase a moth or investigate a noise, seemingly going from 0 to 60 in an instant. A cat's meow is specifically designed to manipulate humans. Research has revealed that cats have essentially trained humans to respond to their meows through thousands of years of cohabitation. Wild cats and feral cats rarely meow at each other, using body language, scent marking, and other vocalizations instead. Meowing is a behavior cats have developed specifically for communicating with humans, and they've become remarkably good at it. Studies show that cats can modulate the frequency, pitch, and duration of their meows to communicate different needs and desires, and they learn which vocalizations are most effective with their particular human. Some researchers have found that cats often embed a high-frequency sound within their purr, similar to the frequency of a human infant's cry, which triggers nurturing instincts in people and is particularly effective at getting humans to provide food. Cats also learn that persistence pays off. They'll continue meowing until they get the desired response, effectively training their owners through repetition. Individual cats develop unique vocabularies with their owners, and attentive humans learn to distinguish between the feed me meow, the let me out meow, and the cool pay attention to me meow. In this way, the cat-human relationship involves sophisticated two-way communication, with cats demonstrating remarkable behavioral flexibility and social intelligence. Cats have 5 toes on their front paws, but only 4 on their back paws. Most cats have a total of 18 toes, 5 on each front paw and 4 on each back paw. The 5th toe on the front paws, located higher up on the inside of the leg, is called the dew claw and corresponds roughly to a human thumb, though it doesn't have opposable function. These extra front toes give cats better traction when climbing and more stability when landing from jumps. Some cats, however, are born with extra toes due to a genetic mutation called polydactyly, and these cats can have 6, 7, or even 8 toes on a single paw. Polydactyl cats, sometimes called Hemingway cats, because writer Ernest Hemingway famously kept and loved them, are particularly common in certain regions, including the northeastern United States and parts of England. The condition is harmless and may even provide advantages, as the extra toes can make cats better climbers and hunters. Each toe has a retractable claw, except the dew claw, which doesn't retract fully, and these claws are kept sharp through scratching, which removes the outer sheath as new growth occurs underneath. Cats are digitigrade walkers, meaning they walk on their toes rather than flat-footed, which contributes to their silent, graceful movement and explosive jumping ability. Ancient Egyptians worshipped cats and mummified them after death. In ancient Egypt, cats were revered as sacred animals, associated with the goddess Bastet, who represented home, fertility, and protection. Killing a cat, even accidentally, was punishable by death, and families would go into mourning when their cat died, sometimes shaving their eyebrows as a sign of grief. Cats were so valued that they were mummified and buried in special cemeteries, often with mummified mice to accompany them into the afterlife. Archaeologists have discovered hundreds of thousands of cat mummies in Egypt, some elaborately prepared and wrapped in fine linen. The export of cats from Egypt was illegal, as they were considered national treasures, though Phoenician traders sometimes smuggled them out, spreading cats throughout the Mediterranean region. Cats earned this elevated status partly through their practical value in protecting grain stores from rodents, but they also became symbols of grace, mystery, and divine protection. Temples kept cats as sacred animals, and images of cats appear frequently in Egyptian art, often depicted sitting regally or hunting birds in marshes. This cultural veneration of cats influenced how they spread across the ancient world and contributed to their integration into human societies, setting the stage for the global relationship between cats and people that continues today. Cats can rotate their front paws inward to climb down trees headfirst. While cats are excellent climbers going up, they often face difficulty coming down because their claws curve in a direction that provides grip when climbing upward, but less so when descending. However, some cats, particularly agile individuals, can actually rotate their hind legs and paws inward, allowing them to climb down head first like a squirrel. Most cats, however, descend trees backward in a somewhat awkward scuttling motion, or they leap from a certain height if they determine the drop is survivable. This is why you sometimes see cats stranded in trees. They climbed up in pursuit of prey or to escape a threat, and then found themselves too frightened or unable to navigate the descent. A cat's powerful hind legs are built for jumping up and forward, not necessarily for controlled downward climbing. Their claws, while sharp and effective for gripping bark when ascending, don't provide the same security when descending face first, unless the cat can perform the leg rotation technique. Interestingly, larger wild cats like leopards are much better at descending trees head first, as they regularly carry heavy prey up into branches and must have the climbing skills to manage both ascent and descent with a burden. House cats, despite thousands of years of domestication, retain the climbing instincts of their wild ancestors, even if they sometimes overestimate their abilities. A cat's heart beats nearly twice as fast as a human's. A healthy cat's heart rate ranges from about 140 to 220 beats per minute, roughly double the resting heart rate of an adult human, which is typically 60 to 100 beats per minute. This faster heart rate is normal for cats and reflects their higher metabolism and more active physiological state, even at rest. Small animals generally have faster heart rates than larger ones, a principle called allometric scaling. A cat's rapid heartbeat pumps oxygen-rich blood efficiently through its compact body, supporting the quick reflexes and explosive bursts of energy cats are known for. The respiratory rate is also faster than humans, with cats taking about 20 to 30 breaths per minute compared to a human's 12 to 20. When examining a cat's health, veterinarians often check heart rate, as changes can indicate stress, illness, or pain. A cat's purring can actually make it difficult to hear the heartbeat with a stethoscope, as the vibrations from purring mask the heart sounds, which is why vets sometimes need to turn on a faucet or create other distractions to stop the purring temporarily during exams. Despite their small size, cats have powerful cardiovascular systems designed to support their active, predatory lifestyle. Cats have been to space. In 1963, the French space program launched a cat named Félicette into space aboard a rocket, making her the first and only cat to travel beyond Earth's atmosphere and return safely. She reached an altitude of about 157 kilometers, just beyond the internationally recognized boundary of space, and experienced about 5 minutes of weightlessness before her capsule descended by parachute. Electrodes implanted in her brain transmitted neurological data back to researchers who wanted to understand how space travel affected living beings. Félicette survived the journey and lived for several months afterward before being euthanized so scientists could examine her brain. While her contribution to space science is now largely forgotten, in recent years, there have been efforts to honor her memory with statues and commemorative projects. Other cats were trained for the French space program, but never flew, and Félicette remains unique in the history of space exploration. Her flight occurred during the space race, when both the United States and Soviet Union were sending animals into space to test the safety of human spaceflight, though they typically used dogs and monkeys. Félicette's journey is a quirky footnote in both cat history and space history, reminding us of the many animals who contributed to scientific understanding, often without choice or recognition. A cat's tongue is covered in tiny barbs called papillae. If you've ever been licked by a cat, you've felt the rough, sandpaper-like texture of its tongue, which is caused by hundreds of tiny, backward-facing barbs called papillae. These sharp projections are made of keratin, the same protein that forms human fingernails and cat's claws. The papillae serve multiple functions. When grooming, they act like a comb, removing loose fur, dirt, and parasites from the coat, and distributing oils from the skin throughout the fur to keep it healthy and water-resistant. The barbs also help cats lap up water by creating a column of liquid that they catch and swallow before gravity pulls it back down. A surprisingly complex drinking method that researchers have studied using high-speed cameras. Additionally, the rough tongue helps cats scrape meat off bones when eating, maximizing the nutrition they can extract from prey. The downside is that the backward-facing barbs make it difficult for cats to spit out anything that gets on their tongue, which is why they sometimes end up swallowing string, tinsel, or other dangerous items. Grooming is a major activity for cats, who spend up to half of their waking hours licking. Their fur and the specialized texture of their tongue makes them remarkably efficient at keeping themselves clean. Cats can see in color, just not as many as humans. For many years, people believed cats saw the world in black and white, but research has revealed that cats do see colors, though their color perception is more limited than humans. Cats have two types of color receptors, or cones, in their eyes, making them dichromatic. Similar to humans with red-green color blindness, they can distinguish blues and yellows reasonably well, but have difficulty with reds, greens, and browns. which may appear more greyish or muted. Humans, in contrast, are trichromatic, with 3 types of cones that allow us to see a full spectrum of colours. However, where cats lose out in colour perception, they gain in other visual abilities. As mentioned earlier, they see much better in low light, and they're also better at detecting motion, particularly fast or subtle movements, which is essential for hunting. Cats also have a wider field of view than humans, about 200 degrees compared to our 180 degrees, giving them better peripheral vision to spot approaching threats or fleeing prey. The structure of a cat's eye is optimized for the crepuscular hunting lifestyle, active during dawn and dusk, when light levels are low and prey animals are most active. So while the world may look less vibrant to a cat than to a human, cats see plenty of information we miss. The world's longest cat measured over 4 feet long. In 2010, a Maine Coon named Stewie set the Guinness World Record for the longest domestic cat, measuring 48.5 inches. That's just over 4 feet, from the tip of his nose to the tip of his tail. Maine Coons are the largest domesticated cat breed, with males often weighing 15 to 25 pounds, though some individuals exceed 30 pounds. They're native to North America, likely descended from long-haired cats brought to Maine by seafarers, and they're known for their tufted ears, bushy tails, and friendly, dog-like personalities. Despite their size, Maine Coons are generally gentle and sociable. Another record-holding cat was Baravel, a Maine Coon from Italy, who measured 47.2 inches long in 2018. These massive cats have proportionally large paws, originally adapted for walking on snow, and thick, water-resistant coats. They take longer to reach full size than other breeds, sometimes not reaching maturity until 4 or 5 years old. On the opposite end of the spectrum, the smallest cat breeds, like the Singapura, typically weigh only 4 to 8 pounds. The remarkable range in size among domestic cats reflects centuries of selective breeding for different traits, from the massive, sturdy Maine Coons to the tiny, delicate Singapuras, yet all share the same basic feline blueprint. Cats have a specialized hunting behavior called the kill bite. When cats catch prey, they deliver a precise killing bite to the back of the neck that severs the spinal cord and causes instant death. This behavior is instinctual and highly refined, even in house cats that have never hunted real prey. The kill bite targets the gap between the vertebrae, and cats can locate this vulnerable spot using their sensitive whiskers and teeth. The long canine teeth are perfectly spaced to slip between vertebrae, acting like surgical instruments. Kittens learn to perfect this technique through play fighting with their siblings and by practicing on toys, which is why you might see your cat grab a stuffed mouse and deliver those rapid, intense bites to its neck. This behavior is deeply ingrained. Even house cats who have never seen real prey will often demonstrate it on toys, insects, or unfortunately, sometimes on their owner's hands during overstimulated play. The kill bite is efficient and relatively humane compared to how some predators kill, reflecting millions of years of evolution as solitary hunters who must dispatch prey quickly to avoid injury and secure food. Understanding this instinct helps explain some cat behaviors that might otherwise seem strange or aggressive, and it underscores the importance of appropriate play and enrichment to channel these natural hunting drives in positive directions. Cats knead with their paws because of a kitten behavior. If you've ever had a cat rhythmically push its paws in and out against your lap, a soft blanket, or even the air, you've witnessed kneading, sometimes called making biscuits, This behavior originates in kittenhood, when nursing kittens need their mother's belly to stimulate milk flow. The motion is comforting and associated with the safety and warmth of being with their mother. And adult cats often continue kneading when they feel content and relaxed. They typically need soft surfaces that remind them of their mother's belly, which is why they target blankets, pillows, or human laps. Many cats purr while kneading, further indicating their contentment. Some cats extend their claws during kneading, which can be uncomfortable for the human involved. But it's not aggressive. It's actually a sign of affection and trust. The behavior may also have a territorial component, as cats have scent glands in their paw pads, and kneading deposits their scent on the surface, marking it as their own. Interestingly, cats that were weaned too early or bottle-fed often knead more frequently and intensely than cats that nursed normally, perhaps because they're seeking the comfort they missed. Understanding that kneading is a deeply rooted comfort behavior can help owners appreciate it, even when those claws dig in a bit too enthusiastically. Cats can be right-pawed or left-pawed, just like humans are handed. Research has shown that cats, like humans, show paw preference, meaning they favor one paw over the other for tasks like reaching for food, stepping over objects, or playing with toys. Studies suggest that this preference may be influenced by sex, with male cats more likely to be left-pawed and female cats more likely to be right-pawed, though individual variation exists. The degree of paw preference can vary. Some cats strongly favor one paw, while others are more ambidextrous. Observing which paw your cat uses to bat at a toy or reach under furniture can reveal their preference. Paw dominance is controlled by the brain, specifically by the lateralization of brain function, where one hemisphere specializes in certain tasks. In humans, right-handedness is associated with left brain dominance for language. In cats, the significance of paw preference isn't as clearly understood, but it likely relates to how their brains process spatial information and coordinate movement. Knowing your cat's paw preference probably won't change how you care for them, but it's a charming reminder that cats, like us, are individuals with unique quirks and preferences shaped by their neurology. The average lifespan of an indoor cat is 15 years, but some live much longer. With proper care, nutrition, and veterinary attention, indoor cats often live 12 to 18 years, with many reaching their early 20s. The record for the oldest cat ever belonged to Crim Puff, a cat from Texas who lived to be 38 years and 3 days old, an astounding age that far exceeds typical feline lifespans. Outdoor cats, in contrast, have much shorter lifespans, often only 2 to 5 years, due to risks like traffic, predators, disease, and exposure to harsh weather. The difference is stark and highlights the protective benefit of keeping cats indoors or providing them with safe outdoor enclosures. Advances in veterinary medicine, better nutrition, and increased awareness of cat health needs have contributed to longer lifespans for house cats over the past several decades. Regular veterinary checkups, vaccinations, dental care, and prompt treatment of illnesses all play crucial roles in keeping cats healthy into old age. Genetics also matter. Some breeds and individual bloodlines are hardier and more long-lived than others. Senior cats, typically defined as those 7 years and older, benefit from age-appropriate care, including modified diets and monitoring for common age-related conditions like kidney disease, arthritis, and hyperthyroidism. The bond between a cat and owner can span many years, and with good care, cats can be companions for a substantial portion of a human's life. Cats have a unique organ called the Jacobson's organ for enhanced scent detection. Located in the roof of a cat's mouth, the Jacobson's organ, or vomeronasal organ, is a specialized sensory structure that detects pheromones and other chemical signals. When a cat wants to use this organ, it will often perform a behavior called the feline response, opening its mouth slightly, curling back its lips, and appearing to grimace or sneer while inhaling deeply. This unusual expression allows scent molecules to reach the Jacobson's organ, where they're analyzed for information about other animals, particularly regarding reproductive status. Male cats often display the feline response when detecting a female in heat, but cats of both sexes use it to investigate interesting scents. This organ essentially gives cats a sixth sense, allowing them to gather chemical information about their environment that goes beyond what their nose alone can detect. The vomeronasal organ is found in many mammals, including horses, dogs, and big cats. But it's vestigial or absent in humans and our primate relatives. For cats, it's an important tool for communication and understanding their social and territorial landscape, providing a rich layer of information invisible to human perception. Cats have been known to travel hundreds of miles to return home. There are numerous documented cases of cats traveling extraordinary distances to reunite with their families after being lost or left behind during a move. One famous case involved a cat named Sugar, who traveled over 1,500 miles from California to Oklahoma to find her owners who had moved without her. Another cat, Ninja, traveled 850 miles over 5 months to return to his old home in Utah after his family moved to Washington. How cats accomplish these journeys remains somewhat mysterious. They likely use a combination of sensory cues, including the Earth's magnetic field, scent markers, visual landmarks, and their excellent spatial memory. Cats create detailed mental maps of their territory and may be able to expand this map-making ability over larger distances when motivated. Their homing ability isn't as well studied as that of pigeons or some other animals, but it's clear that cats possess remarkable navigation skills. These stories also highlight the deep attachment cats can form to both places and people. While cats are often stereotyped as aloof and independent, the effort they expend to return home demonstrates powerful bonds and a desire for the familiar, whether that's a specific location or the people they consider family. A cat's field of vision is wider than a human's. Cats have a visual field of about 200 degrees compared to humans' 180 degrees, giving them superior peripheral vision. This wide field of view helps cats detect motion and potential threats approaching from the sides, an important adaptation for both hunting and avoiding predators. The trade-off is that cats have a smaller area of binocular vision, where the visual fields of both eyes overlap, providing depth perception. Humans have binocular vision across about 140 degrees, while cats have it across only 90 degrees. This means cats have excellent awareness of their surroundings, but slightly less precise depth perception in front of them compared to humans, though they compensate with other senses like whiskers and motion detection. Cats also have a blind spot directly in front of their nose, which is why they sometimes have trouble finding treats placed right under their noses and must rely on scent instead of vision. Their visual system is optimized for detecting movement rather than fine detail. A stationary object might be overlooked, but the slightest motion catches their attention immediately, This is why cats are so captivated by moving toys, insects, and that red dot from laser pointers. Their brains are wired to notice and track movement as potential prey. Cats are crepuscular, meaning they're most active during dawn and dusk. While many people think of cats as nocturnal, they're actually crepuscular, which means their peak activity periods are during twilight hours at dawn and dusk. This pattern aligns with the activity of their primary prey in the wild, small rodents and birds, which are also most active during these times. During the middle of the day and the middle of the night, cats typically rest, conserving energy for hunting during optimal hours. House cats often adjust their schedules somewhat to match their owners' routines, becoming more active during human waking hours to interact and solicit food. But their natural inclination is still towards those twilight periods. This is why your cat might wake you at dawn with enthusiastic meows, or suddenly become hyperactive and playful, just as you're settling in for the evening. These bursts of energy, sometimes called the zoomies, are your cat's instincts telling them it's hunting time. Understanding this natural rhythm can help cat owners provide appropriate enrichment and play sessions during these peak activity windows, which can help satisfy their cat's instincts and potentially reduce unwanted nighttime activity. Working with a cat's natural schedule rather than against it creates a more harmonious household. Cats can run up to 30 miles per hour in short bursts. When fully motivated, cats can reach impressive speeds of up to 30 miles per hour, though they can only maintain this pace for short distances. Cats are sprinters, not distance runners, and their bodies are built for quick acceleration and explosive power rather than endurance. Their powerful hind leg muscles propel them forward rapidly, and their flexible spine extends and contracts with each stride, increasing stride length. When running at full speed, there's a moment when all four paws are off the ground simultaneously, creating a bounding, graceful motion. This speed is typically reserved for chasing prey, escaping threats, or during particularly energetic play sessions. Most cats can cover about 3 times their body length in a single running stride. Compared to other predators, 30 miles per hour is respectable, but not record-breaking. Greyhounds can reach 45 miles per hour, and cheetahs, the fastest land animals, can hit 70 miles per hour. However, for their size, cats are extremely fast, and their speed combined with agility, sharp reflexes, and the ability to change direction instantly makes them formidable hunters. House cats retain these athletic abilities, even without the need to hunt, and providing opportunities for running and chasing through play helps keep them physically and mentally healthy. The collective weight of all domesticated cats is greater than the collective weight of all lions and tigers combined. There are an estimated 600 million domestic cats in the world today, living in homes, roaming as strays, or existing as feral populations. In contrast, there are only about 20,000 to 25,000 wild lions remaining, and fewer than 4,000 wild tigers. With an average house cat weighing around 10 pounds and large wild cats like lions and tigers weighing 300 to 600 pounds. The sheer number of domestic cats means their combined biomass significantly exceeds that of their wild cousins. This striking statistic highlights both the remarkable success of cats as a species through their partnership with humans and the concerning decline of large wild cats due to habitat loss, hunting, and human conflict. Domestic cats have thrived in nearly every environment humans have colonized, from urban apartments to remote islands, while their wild relatives have seen their territories shrink dramatically. This imbalance raises questions about conservation priorities and the ecological impact of domestic cat populations, particularly feral colonies that can affect local wildlife. Understanding these numbers puts into perspective how profoundly cats, in their domesticated form, have integrated into human civilization. Morse. Cats have been instrumental in scientific discoveries. Cats have contributed to scientific research in various fields, sometimes intentionally and sometimes accidentally. In neuroscience, studies of cat brains have provided fundamental insights into how sensory systems process information. The Nobel Prize-winning work of David Hubel and Torsten Wiesel on visual processing was conducted largely using cats, revealing how neurons in the visual cortex respond to specific features of the environment, like edges and movement. Cats have also been used in research on hearing, balance, and sleep, because their neurological systems share important similarities with humans. More recently, the study of cat genetics has illuminated how domestication shapes genomes and how certain traits are inherited. The sequencing of the cat genome has helped researchers understand genetic diseases that affect both cats and humans. In toxicology, understanding what makes certain substances like chocolate or acetaminophen poisonous to cats has broader implications for understanding metabolic differences across species. While the ethics of animal research is complex and debated, it's undeniable that cats have contributed to knowledge that has improved both veterinary medicine and human health. Today, many research institutions have moved toward non-invasive studies and observation rather than experimental procedures, reflecting evolving ethical standards. Cats have more vertebrae than humans, making them incredibly flexible. A cat's spine contains roughly 53 vertebrae, compared to 33 in humans, and these extra vertebrae, particularly in the tail, contribute to the extraordinary flexibility that allows cats to twist, bend, and contort their bodies in ways that seem almost liquid. The spaces between vertebrae are cushioned by elastic discs, and cats have more loosely connected vertebrae than most animals, which allows for greater range of motion. This flexibility is essential for many cat behaviors, twisting in midair to land on their feet, squeezing through tight spaces, grooming hard-to-reach areas, and executing the spine-arching postures used in stretching and threat displays. The spine can rotate significantly, enabling cats to turn their front and back halves in nearly opposite directions. Combined with their free-floating clavicle and flexible shoulder joints, this spinal flexibility makes cats seem almost boneless when they're curling up in impossibly small boxes or slintering under furniture. This adaptation evolved to make cats more effective hunters, allowing them to navigate complex terrain, pounce from unusual angles, and react quickly to prey or threats. It's also why cats can fit into spaces that seem far too small for them. The "if I fit, I sits" phenomenon beloved by cat owners everywhere. Cats have a limited range of facial expressions compared to dogs. While dogs have been bred to have expressive faces that communicate clearly with humans, cats have more subtle facial signals that can be harder for people to read. This is partly because cats are more solitary animals that didn't evolve to communicate complex information through facial expressions the way pack animals like dogs did. Cats do have facial expressions. They're just more nuanced. A slow blink is a sign of trust and affection, often called a cat kiss. Wide eyes can indicate fear or surprise, while narrowed eyes suggest contentment or aggression, depending on context. Flattened ears signal fear or defensive aggression. while forward-facing ears show interest and attention. Whisker position also communicates mood, with forward whiskers indicating curiosity and pulled back whiskers suggesting discomfort or aggression. However, research suggests that humans are generally better at reading dog facial expressions than cat expressions, partly because dogs were selectively bred for thousands of years to work and communicate with humans, while cats domesticated themselves with less human interference. This can lead to misunderstandings, with people misinterpreting a cat's neutral face as unfriendly when the cat is actually relaxed, or missing signs of distress because they're not as obvious as a dog's body language. Learning to read cat facial expressions and body language can significantly improve the cat-human relationship. The purr frequency of cats is believed to have healing properties. Beyond the immediate comfort of a purring cat, research suggests that the vibrations produced during purring may have genuine therapeutic effects. The frequency range of cat purrs, typically between 25 and 150 Hz, corresponds to frequencies that have been shown in studies to promote bone density, aid in healing soft tissue injuries, reduce pain and swelling, and improve joint mobility. Some researchers have hypothesized that purring evolved as a low-energy way for cats to stimulate bone and tissue health, particularly important for animals that spend large portions of their time inactive. This would explain why cats purr not only when content, but also when stressed, injured, or giving birth. They may be self-medicating through vibration therapy. For humans, exposure to these healing frequencies through close contact with purring cats might offer mild therapeutic benefits, potentially contributing to the documented health advantages of cat ownership, including reduced stress and lower blood pressure. While more research is needed to fully understand the mechanism and extent of these effects, the idea that your cat's purr might be actively healing both of you adds another dimension to the ancient bond between cats and humans. It's a reminder that the comfort we feel from a purring cat might be more than emotional. It might be physiological as well. Cats have a strong dislike of citrus scents. Most cats show an aversion to citrus fruits like oranges, lemons, limes, and grapefruits, reacting negatively to both the scent and taste. This dislike is thought to be related to the essential oils and compounds in citrus peels that cats find overwhelming or even toxic. A cat's sense of smell is much more sensitive than a human's, and what smells pleasantly tangy to us may be overpowering and unpleasant to them. Some cat owners use this natural aversion to their advantage, placing citrus peels or citrus-scented sprays in areas where they want to discourage cats from going, like gardens, countertops, or furniture. While this can be effective, it's important to note that concentrated citrus oils can be toxic to cats if ingested or absorbed through skin, so any deterrents should be used carefully. Interestingly, cats' taste buds lack the receptors for sweetness, so they wouldn't enjoy the sweet aspect of citrus anyway, and their experience of these fruits is likely dominated by the sharp, acidic, and aromatic compounds they find so disagreeable. This citrus aversion is shared by many other cat species, both wild and domestic, suggesting it's a deeply ingrained characteristic of felines rather than a learned behavior. Cats have been domesticated for a shorter time than dogs and remain more independent. While dogs began their partnership with humans around 15,000 to 40,000 years ago, cats have only been domesticated for about 10,000 years, and their domestication followed a different path. Dogs were actively bred and trained for specific jobs like hunting, herding and guarding, which required close cooperation with humans. Cats, on the other hand, essentially invited themselves into human communities, attracted by the rodents that gathered around grain stores. This self-domestication meant less selective pressure for traits like obedience and cooperation with humans. As a result, cats retain more of their wild independence than dogs do. Genetic studies show that domestic cats are remarkably similar to wild cats, with fewer genetic differences between wild and domestic cats than between wolves and domestic dogs. This is reflected in cat behavior. They're more self-sufficient, less trainable through traditional methods, and more likely to revert to feral living if needed. This independence is part of what draws people to cats. They choose to be companions rather than being compelled by breeding or training. When a cat seeks your affection or companionship, it feels more like a genuine choice, which many people find deeply satisfying. Understanding this evolutionary history helps explain why cats behave the way they do, and why trying to train or control them, as you would a dog, usually ends in frustration. Cats can drink seawater to survive, unlike humans, who cannot safely consume seawater due to its high salt content. Cats have highly efficient kidneys that can filter out the salt, allowing them to extract fresh water from seawater if necessary. This ability was essential for their wild ancestors, who sometimes lived in arid environments where fresh water was scarce. A cat's kidneys can produce highly concentrated urine, which means they can extract more water from their food and require less drinking water than many other animals. This is why cats often don't drink much water, particularly if they eat wet food, which contains about 70 to 80% moisture. However, while cats can drink seawater in a survival situation, it's not ideal for long-term consumption, and they still need regular access to fresh water for optimal health. The kidney's efficiency is a double-edged sword. It allows cats to survive in dry conditions, but it also means that kidney disease is common in older cats, as these hard-working organs can wear out over time. Encouraging cats to drink more water through fountains, multiple water stations, and wet food can help support kidney health throughout their lives. This remarkable adaptation to arid conditions reflects the origins of domestic cats' ancestors in the deserts of the Near East. Cats can recognize their owner's voice, but often choose not to respond. Research has demonstrated that cats can distinguish their owner's voice from the voices of strangers, and they show subtle behavioral changes when they hear their owner speak, such as ear and head movements. However, unlike dogs, cats often don't respond overtly, particularly if they're not in the mood for interaction. This has led to the common perception that cats are aloof or indifferent, but studies suggest it's more complicated. Cats evolved as solitary hunters, unlike the pack-oriented dogs, and they don't have the same instinctive drive to respond immediately to social calls. When a cat ignores you, it's not necessarily that they don't care. They may simply have decided that whatever they're doing is more interesting or important at that moment. Cats are also more likely to respond to higher-pitched melodic cat talk than to normal conversational tones, which may explain why many cat owners instinctively speak to their cats in a special voice. Over time, cats learn which vocalizations or calling patterns from their owners are associated with desirable outcomes like food or play, and they become more responsive to these specific cues. The relationship between cats and humans involves a negotiation rather than automatic obedience, and this independence is part of what makes earning a cat's attention and affection feel so rewarding. Cats have a writing reflex that allows them to land on their feet. When a cat falls, it instinctively performs a complex series of body rotations that allow it to land on its feet, a phenomenon called the righting reflex. This reflex begins to develop when kittens are just 3 to 4 weeks old and is fully functional by 7 weeks. The process involves several stages. First, the cat determines which way is up using its vestibular system in the inner ear. Then it rotates its head and front body toward the ground, followed by the rear of the body, while arching its back and extending its legs to create a sort of parachute effect that slows descent. This all happens in a fraction of a second. Interestingly, studies have shown that cats falling from mid-level heights, like 2 to 6 stories, often suffer more injuries than cats falling from higher floors. This is because falls from greater heights give cats more time to execute the righting reflex, relax their muscles, and spread their bodies to increase air resistance, while shorter falls happen too quickly for the full reflex to engage. However, it's important to note that while cats often survive falls that would be fatal to other animals, they still suffer injuries, and cat owners should take precautions to prevent falls from height. Cats bury their waste to hide their scent from predators and competitors. The instinct to bury feces and urine is deeply ingrained in cats and serves multiple purposes. In the wild, covering waste helps cats avoid detection by larger predators and prevents rivals from knowing they're in the area. Even house cats, who face no such threats, retain this instinctive behavior, which is why they're naturally inclined to use litter boxes if given the opportunity. However, dominant or confident cats sometimes leave their waste uncovered as a territorial display, essentially advertising their presence to other cats. This is why you might occasionally find uncovered deposits in a multi-cat household. It can be a sign of social hierarchy. The burying behavior begins in kittenhood and doesn't need to be taught. Kittens observe their mother and instinctively begin covering their waste as they mature. The fastidiousness of cats regarding their bathroom habits is one reason they adapted so well to indoor living and became such popular pets. Unlike dogs, which need to be taken outside regularly, cats can be perfectly content using a litter box, making them ideal companions for apartment dwellers and people with limited mobility. Providing a clean, appropriately sized litter box in a quiet location is essential for cat welfare and helps prevent unwanted elimination behaviors. Cats have contributed words and phrases to human language. The influence of cats on human culture extends even to language, where numerous idioms and expressions reference feline behavior. Phrases like curiosity, killed the cat, let the cat out of the bag, cat got your tongue, raining cats and dogs, like herding cats, and catnap are all firmly embedded in English. The term catnip refers both to the plant that cats find intoxicating and metaphorically to anything irresistible. A catty remark draws on stereotypes about female cats being spiteful, though this characterization is unfair to cats. In music, a cat referred to a cool jazz musician in the mid-20th century. The term copycat likely originates from cats' tendency to imitate behaviors, particularly kittens learning from their mothers. Catcall, unfortunately, refers to a crude shout or whistle directed at someone, though its etymology may actually relate to theatre audiences making cat-like noises to show disapproval rather than to actual cats. These linguistic traces show how thoroughly cats have woven themselves into human consciousness and culture. In other languages too, cats feature prominently in idioms and expressions, reflecting their worldwide presence in human societies and the universal familiarity people have with feline behavior. Cats may have played a role in the extinction of multiple species. While cats are beloved pets, their impact on wildlife, particularly on islands, has been devastating. Domestic and feral cats are estimated to kill billions of birds and small mammals annually worldwide. On islands where cats were introduced, often by sailors leaving them to control rats, they've contributed to or caused the extinction of at least 63 species of birds, mammals, and reptiles. Island ecosystems evolved without cat-like predators, so native species had no defenses against these efficient hunters. Even well-fed house cats retain strong hunting instincts and will kill wildlife opportunistically. Conservation efforts on some islands have involved removing feral cat populations to protect endangered native species, which has led to ethical debates about animal welfare versus conservation priorities. Cat owners can mitigate their pets' impact by keeping cats indoors, using catios, enclosed outdoor spaces, or walking cats on leashes. Indoor cats live longer, healthier lives, avoiding risks like cars, diseases, and conflicts with other animals. While the ecological impact of cats is serious, it's ultimately a human responsibility. We introduced cats to these environments and continue to allow populations of feral and free-roaming cats to exist. Balancing our love for cats with our responsibility to protect wildlife is an ongoing challenge. Cats experience a heightened sense of smell when they're born, but can't see or hear. Kittens are born in a remarkably helpless state, with their eyes and ear canals sealed shut, rendering them blind and deaf for their first week or two of life. During this vulnerable period, their most developed sense is smell, which they use to locate their mother and navigate to her nipples for nursing. Each kitten typically claims a preferred nipple and returns to it repeatedly, identifying it by scent. The mother cat also uses scent to recognize her kittens and will often reject kittens that don't smell like her own. Kittens' eyes begin to open around 7 to 10 days after birth, though their vision remains blurry for several more weeks. Their ear canals open around the same time, and their hearing develops rapidly. By 3 to 4 weeks old, kittens can see and hear well enough to begin exploring their environment, though their senses continue to refine for several more weeks. This staged sensory development means that a kitten's early world is dominated by touch, smell, and the warmth of its mother and littermates. The gradual awakening of their senses parallels their physical development, with improved coordination and mobility emerging as their sensory world expands. Cats can become addicted to certain foods and prefer them over healthier options. Cats can develop strong preferences for particular foods, sometimes to the exclusion of all others, in what's known as food fixation. This often happens when a cat is fed the same food exclusively for extended periods or when introduced to highly palatable foods that contain flavor enhancers. Some cats become so fixated on a specific brand or flavor that they'll refuse to eat anything else, which can create problems if that food is recalled, discontinued, or becomes nutritionally inappropriate as the cat ages. This behavior may be related to the imprinting that occurs during the kitten phase, when food preferences are established. Kittens exposed to a variety of textures and flavors are generally more accepting of different foods as adults. Cats also have a strong sense of food neophobia, a wariness of new foods, which is an evolutionary safeguard against poisoning, but can make dietary transitions difficult. To prevent food fixation, veterinarians often recommend rotating between different high-quality foods and introducing variety early. When dietary changes are necessary, Gradual transitions over 7 to 10 days, mixing increasing amounts of new food with old, can help finicky cats adjust. Understanding that food preferences in cats are powerful and sometimes irrational can help owners approach feeding with patience and strategy. Cats have been cloned successfully. In 2001, a kitten named Cece, short for copycat, became the first successfully cloned cat. She was created by researchers at Texas A&M University using DNA from a female calico cat named Rainbow. Interestingly, while Cece was genetically identical to Rainbow, her coat pattern was completely different, demonstrating that genes alone don't determine all physical characteristics. Factors like random X chromosome inactivation and developmental environment also play crucial roles. The cloning process involved taking genetic material from Rainbow, inserting it into an egg cell from another cat, and implanting the resulting embryo into a surrogate mother. Since Cece's birth, several companies have offered pet cloning services, allowing grieving owners to create genetic copies of deceased pets. However, cloned cats, like Cece, may look different from the original, and will certainly have different personalities and behaviors, as these are shaped by environment and experience as much as genetics. The ethics of pet cloning remain debated, with concerns about the welfare of donor and surrogate animals, the high failure rates of cloning procedures, and whether cloning truly honors the unique individual that was lost, or simply creates a genetic copy that can never truly replace the original. Cats have 4 scent glands that they use for marking territory. Cats are highly territorial animals that use scent marking to communicate with other cats and claim their space. They have scent glands in 4 primary locations: on their cheeks, on their paw pads, at the base of their tail, and in the anal area. When a cat rubs its cheeks against furniture, your legs, or other objects, it's depositing pheromones from the facial glands, marking the object as safe and familiar. This is called bunting, and is a sign of affection when directed at humans. Cats also mark territory by scratching, which leaves both visual marks and scent from the glands in their paw pads. The scent glands at the base of the tail are activated during friendly tail-up greetings between cats, while anal gland secretions are deposited with feces, providing olfactory identification. These scent marks create a chemical landscape that other cats can read, conveying information about the marking cat's identity, sex, reproductive status, and how recently they passed through. For house cats, scent marking helps them feel secure in their environment, creating a familiar smell profile that's comforting. When cats mark humans with their scent, they're incorporating us into their territory and social group, essentially claiming us as theirs, a gesture that's simultaneously possessive and affectionate. The ancient Romans valued cats for their hunting abilities and independence. While ancient Egypt is famous for its cat worship, the Romans also valued cats, though in a more practical capacity. Romans appreciated cats primarily as pest controllers, protecting grain stores and homes from rodents. Unlike the Egyptians, who deified cats, Romans saw them as useful working animals, similar to how they viewed dogs, though cats were never as central to Roman culture as they were to Egyptian. Cats appear in Roman art and literature, sometimes as symbols of independence and liberty because of their refusal to be fully controlled or domesticated in the way dogs were. The goddess Diana was sometimes depicted with cats, and there's evidence that Romans kept cats as household companions, not just workers. As the Roman Empire expanded, Cats spread throughout Europe and beyond, traveling with Roman armies and merchants. This distribution helped establish feline populations across the Mediterranean and into northern Europe. The Roman attitude toward cats, valuing them for practical purposes while respecting their autonomy, differs from both the veneration of ancient Egypt and the persecution cats would face in medieval Europe. This practical appreciation may have been a more sustainable relationship, allowing cats to maintain their working role while avoiding the extremes of worship or fear. Cats have a specialized muscle that allows them to retract their claws. Unlike dogs, whose claws are always extended, cats have retractable claws controlled by specialized ligaments and tendons. When relaxed, the claws are sheathed within protective folds of skin, keeping them sharp and hidden. When needed for climbing, hunting, or defense, the cat contracts specific muscles that pull the tendons, extending the claws. This retraction mechanism keeps claws sharp by preventing them from wearing down during normal walking and keeps them protected from damage. It also allows cats to move silently, without the clicking sound that dog claws make on hard surfaces, which is essential for stalking prey. The only claws that don't fully retract are the dew claws on the front legs, which remain slightly visible. Cheetahs are unusual among cat species in that their claws only semi-retract, a trade-off that gives them better traction when running at high speeds, but results in duller claws. The retractable claw mechanism is an elegant example of evolutionary engineering, providing cats with versatile tools that can be deployed instantly when needed and safely stored when not in use. Regular scratching helps cats remove the outer sheath of their claws as they grow, revealing the sharp new claw underneath, which is why providing appropriate scratching surfaces is essential for cat welfare. Cats can suffer from dementia and cognitive decline in old age. Just like humans and dogs, cats can experience cognitive dysfunction as they age, a condition similar to dementia or Alzheimer's disease. Symptoms include disorientation, changes in sleep patterns, decreased interaction with family members, changes in litter box habits, and apparent confusion or anxiety. Senior cats might forget the location of their litter box or food bowl, vocalize excessively, particularly at night, or seem lost in familiar environments. The condition is caused by physical changes in the aging brain, including the accumulation of abnormal proteins and decreased brain mass. While there's no cure for feline cognitive dysfunction, early detection and intervention can slow progression and improve quality of life. Treatments may include environmental enrichment, dietary supplements like omega-3 fatty acids and antioxidants, medications, and maintaining consistent routines to reduce confusion. Creating a more accessible environment with nightlights, easily accessible litter boxes, and predictable feeding schedules can help affected cats navigate their daily lives more successfully. As cats live longer due to improved veterinary care, cognitive dysfunction is becoming more commonly recognized, highlighting the importance of monitoring senior cats for behavioral changes and consulting veterinarians about age-related concerns. The vibrations from a cat's purr may strengthen their bones. One fascinating theory about why cats purr is that the vibrations produced during purring may help maintain bone density and muscle tone during their long periods of inactivity. Cats sleep up to 70% of their lives, far more than most mammals. And extended inactivity typically leads to bone weakening and muscle atrophy. However, cats don't seem to suffer these consequences to the degree other animals would. The vibrations from purring at frequencies between 25 and 150 Hz fall within the range that research has shown can stimulate bone growth and prevent bone loss. This same frequency range is used in some human medical treatments to promote healing and strengthen bones. If this theory is correct, purring evolved as a low-energy way for cats to keep their skeletons strong, despite spending most of their time lying around, essentially giving themselves a form of physical therapy through vibration. This would explain why cats purr in various contexts beyond contentment. When injured, stressed, or giving birth, they may be instinctively using the healing and strengthening properties of purring to support their bodies through challenging times. While this theory requires more research to confirm, it offers a compelling explanation for one of the most distinctive and beloved cat behaviors. Cats have been shown to reduce their owner's risk of heart attack and stroke. Multiple studies have found that cat ownership is associated with reduced risk of cardiovascular disease. One study showed that people who owned cats had a 30% lower risk of dying from heart attack compared to those who never owned cats. The mechanisms behind this benefit aren't fully understood, but likely involve multiple factors. The act of petting a cat has been shown to lower blood pressure and heart rate, reducing stress and promoting relaxation. The companionship cats provide can alleviate loneliness and depression, both of which are risk factors for heart disease. The calming presence of a purring cat can trigger the release of endorphins and decrease cortisol levels, the body's stress hormone. Additionally, the responsibility of caring for a cat provides structure and purpose, which can have positive effects on mental and physical health. Interestingly, some studies have found these cardiovascular benefits are specific to cats rather than pets in general, possibly because cats require less intensive care than dogs, making them less stressful to keep, or because the particular qualities of cats, their purring, soft fur, and calm demeanor, are especially soothing. While cat ownership isn't a substitute for medical care, these findings suggest that the comfort cats provide may have measurable health benefits beyond companionship. Cats can see in near total darkness, but not in complete darkness. While cats have exceptional night vision, they cannot see in absolute darkness. They still need some light to see. In near darkness, however, cats can see 6 to 8 times better than humans thanks to several adaptations. In addition to the tapetum lucidum mentioned earlier, cats have elliptical pupils that can open very wide to let in maximum light, and their eyes contain a high proportion of rod cells, which are photoreceptors specialized for low light vision. In contrast, human eyes have more cone cells, which are better for color vision and detail in bright light. The trade-off is that cats see less detail and fewer colors than humans, but excel in dim conditions. This superior night vision evolved because cats' primary prey, small rodents, are most active during twilight and nighttime hours. A cat's eyes are also proportionally larger compared to head size than human eyes, another adaptation that allows them to gather more light. When hunting or playing in low light, cats rely not just on vision, but also on their whiskers, which can detect air currents and nearby objects, and on their exceptional hearing, which can pinpoint the location of prey by sound alone. This multi-sensory approach makes cats formidable nocturnal hunters. Cats have been on every continent except Antarctica. Through their partnership with humans, cats have spread to virtually every corner of the globe. Domestic cats now live on every continent except Antarctica, inhabiting environments from tropical jungles to Arctic regions. This global distribution is remarkable for a species that originated in the deserts of the Near East. Cats traveled the world primarily by ship, kept aboard to control rodent populations and protect food supplies. And when ships docked, some cats would disembark and establish new populations. On many islands, introduced cats became invasive species, but they also adapted successfully to urban, suburban, and rural environments worldwide. Cats in different regions have sometimes developed local characteristics through adaptation and selective breeding, leading to recognized breeds like the Norwegian forest cat, adapted to cold climates with thick, water-resistant coats, and the Egyptian Mau, which resembles the cats of ancient Egypt. Despite this geographic diversity, all domestic cats belong to the same species, Felis catus, and can interbreed, showing that their genetic unity persists despite thousands of years of separation and adaptation to different environments. The success of cats as a species is largely due to their partnership with humans, but also reflects their adaptability, hunting skills, and ability to thrive in diverse conditions. Cats have been the subject of various superstitions throughout history. Beyond the black cat superstitions already mentioned, cats have been associated with numerous beliefs across cultures and time periods. In Japan, the maneki neko, or beckoning cat figurine, is believed to bring good luck and prosperity to businesses and homes. In Russia, a cat is traditionally the first to enter a new home, to bless it with good fortune. Sailors considered cats lucky and believed that if a ship's cat fell overboard, a storm would follow. In some European folklore, cats were thought to predict weather. If a cat washed behind its ears, rain was coming. If it sat with its back to the fire, frost was approaching. Unfortunately, during the Middle Ages in Europe, cats, especially black ones, were associated with witchcraft and the devil, leading to widespread persecution. This superstition may have contributed to the bubonic plague's severity, as the killing of cats allowed rat populations to explode, spreading the disease. In Islamic tradition, cats are generally viewed favorably. The Prophet Muhammad was said to love cats and treat them kindly. These varied superstitions reflect humanity's long, complex relationship with cats, and the ways different cultures have tried to interpret and understand these mysterious creatures. While most modern people recognize these beliefs as folklore, they've left lasting impressions on how cats are perceived in different societies. And so, our gentle journey through the world of cats comes to a close. We've wandered from ancient Egyptian temples to modern living rooms, from the microscopic structure of a cat's tongue to the vast spread of cats across continents, from the physics of their purr to the chemistry of their senses. These remarkable creatures, who chose to live alongside us thousands of years ago, continue to surprise and delight us with their grace, independence, and mysterious ways. As you drift towards sleep, perhaps you can hear the echo of a soft purr, feel the phantom warmth of fur, or sense the quiet presence of whiskers twitching in dreams. Cats remind us that companionship comes in many forms, that wildness can coexist with domesticity, and that sometimes the best relationships are those built on mutual respect and choice rather than control. Whether you share your home with a cat or simply appreciate them from afar, these animals have woven themselves into the fabric of human life in ways both profound and everyday. Rest well, stay curious, and if you enjoyed this exploration, please consider liking and subscribing to the Cozy Curiosity channel, where wonder and rest meet each night. Until next time, may your dreams be as peaceful as a sleeping cat curled in a sunbeam. good night.